Welcome everyone. I feel like I need to have a whole general assembly here because we've got wonderful women and wonderful topics, and I'm breathing and I'm not dead, which is fantastic. So you've got little mirrors under your seats. If you have a look, I think they're face down. And we're going to do a little experiment. Okay, they're such pretty mirrors. They remind me of princess mirrors and not evil stepmother princess mirrors. Yeah, we don't like those. Okay. Oh, wonderful. All right. So we're going to do a little experiment. Now, most of us today came with beautiful hair, makeup, clothes. I'm looking at a really gorgeous audience right now. But let's just pretend that we didn't put any makeup on. Just pretend. Now we're going to have a look at this little mirror, and it's your friend. But honestly, look at it and tell me the first things that come to your mind. Okay, we're in a safe place. We're all ladies. Sorry, I'm very sorry. We're not all ladies, but we all love ladies. Okay. Oh, I was blinded by the light. Sorry. Okay, but you can do this too. It'll be interesting. Okay, so if you need to share, please pass the mirror around. Okay, now. We did this in another setting, and based on research, we know that when you look in the mirror, okay, let's be honest. What do we see first? Generally, the things we want to change, or the things we have. Our great-grandfather and his nose that has come down through the generations. You know, we see things that we've had to make peace with. We see scars from accidents. But we don't see the beauty first. 8 out of 10 women don't see the beauty first. And that makes me really angry. I look quite kind right now, and that's because I'm nervous. But actually, deep inside, I'm really angry. And I'll get some of that soon. And it's this whole sense of why, when women have accomplished so much in education, in science, in social justice, is this still the measuring stick? Because it is. We can't get away from it. So let me give you some stats just to prove my credibility. All right, so the first stat I just mentioned, 8 out of 10 of every woman are unhappy with their appearance. Okay, that was taken in 2016, so these are quite new. Next one, on average, women spend more on beauty than on education. Wow, I mean, that got my attention, okay? Supermodels suffer with substance abuse, addictions, and low self-esteem more than their peers who aren't on the ramp. Gigi Hadid, did you guys see this? And Kendall Jenner's knees were removed recently. Just removed. No trauma. It was just a post-photoshopping accident. And it was showing how far Photoshop has gone in distorting reality. Okay? Women's conversations center on appearance, weight loss, and desirability, even when they're 80. Okay, I mean, gosh, I think some things should change, but at that age, it's still coming up. Okay, retirement villages can be scary. All right, and the next one, the Cuba mass media phenomenon. All right, now I didn't know this, and I felt terribly ignorant because I thought I read the newspaper. But apparently, Cuba doesn't allow mass media in their country, which on the one side is obviously not highly positive because you're breaking your connection from the global world, from conversations that are happening. Interestingly enough, women in that country, what is their self-worth like? Very high. They are powerful women. They start businesses, they run companies, they raise children, and they do that without the constant pressure of measuring up to an image that they keep seeing. And I found that interesting. All right, so let's have a look at the dictionary. This is another very interesting thing. So can you see the two date differences there? There's 1924 and there's 2016. My maths is rather bad, but I know that's just under 100 years, right? It's like 90-something. Anyone got good maths? Okay, so that's close to a century. Changes that have taken place in society, in our thinking. Look at the definition. So, beauty is a combination of qualities that delight the senses of the person or thing possessing this. Interesting. First delights the possessor. 2016, beauty is pleasing to the sense or mind aesthetically. That implies excellence, fineness, blessedness. So to be beautiful is to be beatific, which means to be blessed. If you look at those two definitions, there's a common truth that comes out, at least to me, that it's a combination of qualities that delight or please. Combination of qualities. Okay. So here's my little childhood picture, and don't laugh at it because, I'm being vulnerable here. So there's me when I was very small. That is not me in the tutu because I did ballet for about 3 months, and my parents could not find a photo and me in the tutu at the same time. The camera and the tutu didn't go together. Now, when I was growing up, and this is the reason why I'm so passionate about this, is because it really, really hurt me. Often we're passionate about the things where there's been pain, and we've had to work through those. And I loved ballet, but I had terrible balance. So I couldn't even be the tree in the pantomime, So the tree must just stand. I would kind of be the leaning tree and then sort of come back to, wherever the position was. And the other little girls in the ballet class were beautiful. They had those little buns. Certain hair can go into a bun and certain hair can't. So my hair would never go into a bun. I couldn't be a tree. And when I came home and did my little whatever it was for my dad to watch, he was reading the newspaper and I asked him, Daddy, watch me. I was obviously going to do something very important, And he didn't. And when I was finished doing my little pantomime, waiting for some kind of, I don't know, that was nice, or I don't know, something. My dad said to me, go and change into your play clothes. And I was like, but these are my play clothes. So it was this whole message that came, no, that's not for you. Lovey, that's really not for you. In fact, no, Lovey, just that's not for you. And over the years, this constant battle got reinforced. So my sister was the pretty one. I was the clever one. Okay, I think the roles are reversed now, but that's how it was then. And the irony is that we look almost identical. Hey. So when you look at pictures afterwards, you're like, how could they have said that? And then teachers cottoned on, and they would always talk about me being studious and hardworking, but I was never pretty, and I was never captivating. And it was something that just got spoken over me. I didn't even question it. I was like, oh, well, that's it. Then, at the age of 4, I was a deep child. I used to think about everything very deeply. I fell in love with Japanese ladies and storybooks. Okay, I wanted to be a Japanese princess with is it a kimono? I always want to call it a Kawasaki, or I get the name wrong. But that long, lovely, okay? And then, thank you. And the way they put their hair in those lovely pins, and it was just these beautiful women that looked like princesses in fairy tales, and that's what I wanted to be. Okay, I was an early developer, but in my brain, that's what I wanted to be, and it formed this ideal. So, off I go to Korea, 20 years later, or thereabouts, I'm not going to give my age away, and I meet Katie, and Katie Lee looks just like that lady, okay? So for the first 1 minute, I can't speak, and I'm like, I'm just, enjoying her. And then I realized she actually wants to have a conversation with me, and then she wants to be my friend. These are all just shocking, revelations, really. Like, my ideal wants to talk to me, wants to be my friend. And 6 months later, we're sitting in a coffee shop, and the Koreans work really hard. They work like 3 jobs. So to have coffee with a Korean is like, it's a miracle. So I'm sitting there, and Katie says to me, do you know that when I met you, I was very shy and scared? And I said, well, why? Because I'm waiting for the something terrible is going to be revealed. She said, because you are so beautiful. I didn't know how to speak to you. What do you do in that moment? So I promptly started crying. Wonderful Korean coffee shop, white English teacher crying. And tell her, but the same thing happened to me. You are my ideal. So we both trying to cry and pat each other on the back and say, how did this happen? And that just made me realize, like, that concept of beauty is formed over time. It's not a single instance where you're given truth and you go, oh, that's beauty. It's a series of events in your life that form the mirror inside, not the mirror on the outside. Okay, that was very deep. Thank you for listening. All right, so the qualities of beauty. So now I had to get to this place where I went, why is this so important? Okay, so I did work very hard at school. I even did Afrikaans debating. That tells you something. Don't do it anymore. I did everything I could. So I basically decided I'm not pretty, but I'm going to be clever. I'm going to be strong. Okay, so a granny did mistake me for a boy when I was about 16, which tells you how much time I spent in the gym. Beautiful, wonderful. I had a wonderful adolescence. I'm in treatment for that. So went through this whole process of not being able to get rid of the beauty thing. And I figured out years later why, and this is why. Look at this. That is a human heart. Please still enjoy your lunch. So, beauty is essential to life. Nature is primarily beautiful, not primarily functional. If it was primarily functional, a waterfall would just be a spout that went from somewhere into a hole in the ground. Everything is designed with the intention to be beautiful, so it ministers to us. Beauty heals. Soldiers in World War I and World War II, when they went through all those terrible things, the doctors didn't know how to fix them because of all of the weapons. They used to take them out to the countryside to a beautiful house with water and plants, and they would heal there. They wouldn't heal in hospital with the finest doctors and the finest medicine available. Beauty opens hearts. When you have had a really bad day and you get home and you can just sit in your garden, I hope you all have a garden or at least a pot plant or something, and you get out of that space, can you feel something happens inside? Probably shouldn't do that. In your heart, there's an opening. And there's a restoration of that phrase, all is well with the world. When you're in, I call it God's picnic, and nature's all around you, somehow something is restored. No one needed to say anything, no one needed to counsel you. Maybe your bank balance is still what it is, but peace has been restored. Beauty gives life. Beauty comforts. We send flowers to people in mourning. Why do we do that? They've just lost one of the most important people in their lives, but we send them flowers. Okay, so my old Outlook is challenged. So very, very quickly, the reason why beauty became such a big thing for me was because in 2007, I developed an autoimmune disorder and my organs started shutting down. So it was first my liver, then it was my heart cartilage, then it was my hyperhidrosis system, so I couldn't keep water in, and then my hair fell out, and they didn't know if I had cancer, I was basically an experiment. I went from one specialist to another, and I developed an allergy to makeup. I mean, can you imagine? Now I'm battling this, okay, and I also can't wear makeup. So hilarious, very hilarious. I can laugh at it now, not then. And so I had to spend a year on experimental treatment, not knowing if I was going to make it or not, and not able to wear makeup. And that was the first time I looked in the mirror and saw me. Because now I didn't have all the things that I was putting on. And that process of seeing me started a shift in my mind. And I started, first of all, to like me, because I got to know me in the mirror. Interesting. Then I started to notice the texture of my skin improving over the months, because obviously with jaundice, I looked like I was Chinese without the eyes, So, I mean, it was just yellow everywhere. So, sense of humor helps. But so the whole issue there was I looked sick, and as I became healthier, my skin started to heal. And then I developed this amazing, just a realization that those things hadn't happened in childhood. And look at this amazing quote here. So Margot May, she writes, "Father hunger. Studies have shown that women who enjoyed close and loving relationships with their fathers, which includes assurance, enjoyment, approval in childhood, even if they are faking that you can dance, suffer less from eating disorders, depression, and developed a strong sense of personal identity and positive self-esteem." Okay, so the good news is that if you didn't have a dad like that, there's still hope. But we need to understand the link when it didn't happen when you were growing up. What happened in your psychology? So, my life's passion, after I didn't die, I decidedly was very happy about being alive. And I then decided that I wanted to help everyone else stay and be alive, because it was like, can you imagine? Everything in you has changed. So I studied clinical nutrition, herbology, exercise science. Okay, overachiever again, but now I had something good to put it into. And I started studying the skin. And I really approached beauty as a scientist first. So how can we get a skin to be beautiful? Because I used to love meeting with women that weren't wearing makeup, but their skin was beautiful. I just noticed things, the color, the tone, the light in their eyes, the brightness, the character coming through. But I still wasn't facing the beauty issue. And the only way that I faced that was through other people. Because you cannot be beautiful in isolation. So I had these clients who were very irritating, and they would constantly ask me about, how come your skin is so beautiful? And I said to them, no, it's not that it's beautiful, it's very healthy, and I can explain to you exactly why. Okay, so I've got to put on the British teaching accent, but that's, I didn't want to talk about beauty. I talk about antioxidants, phytochemicals, the epidermal layer, how to clear. Okay, so I had that conversation, but they wouldn't let up. I'd meet strangers on the street that would pass me and say, wow, madam, you're beautiful. Okay, I can't do that accent properly, but just complete strangers telling me that I'm beautiful and pushing this message through that I wouldn't get. Eventually I got it. And I realized that the mirror inside had been healing all this time. Even though I hadn't spoken about it, I hadn't seen it because my soul and my spirit had been healing as I began to heal. And so all of the false mirrors had also started changing. It was like the work being done backstage, and I didn't know, but it was being done. And isn't that lovely? I thank the Lord for good designers. So there is the shattered image. It's sort of blurred, you can't see it, and there's restoration of the broken image. It's a miracle that I can look at that and not like run away screaming. And that, I think, is a story for all of us. Beauty is not a to-do. It's not an add-on. It is laughing with a friend. It's high tea in the garden. It is part of us. It is a gift already given to you that you get to experience for the rest of your life. I removed my mask. I renounced my agreements. I found my tears. I grieved. I forgave. I reshaped beauty. I wrote the answers I needed to hear. I asked God to give them to me. My take home is delight in one of your features each day for 7 to 21 days with beauty purpose. Thank you so much.